Good afternoon, all of you, and welcome to Brighter Day. This is going to be an experience of a lifetime. This is going to be our first virtual meet, and what today we're going to talk about. Today we're going to talk about time management and why it is important to our everyday life. So basically, it's a follow up on procrastination, what we did last time, and I'm calling it meeting 2.5 because it's that I'm not counting it as a meeting; it's half a meeting, basically. So our next, and it's following up on the last meeting. So yeah. So please, please, we're using Puzzle today. I'll explain why later. So please, when I finish talking, it's going to pop up a question. Put in what is your homework schedule, and it's not that hard. You have three classes, and one of them is gym. One of them is PE. So just like put when do you usually do your homework, and when they usually have extracurriculars and breaks. So welcome back. Today we're going to talk about time management, like I said, and how to manage your time successfully. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about a couple things and announcements. We're going to talk about what's next for this club and about the virtual meets. How is it going to work? We're going to talk a little bit about time management. We're going to do a TED talk. Some stories on time management and what can we do about it. Okay, so this is our first non-live club meeting, and we can't have club meetings without the faculty advisor. So sad, I know. And we're calling today's meeting, as I said, 2.5. We're following up on procrastination. So all asynchronous meetings, I think, is going to be led on Ed Puzzle, and I will explain why. But I'm not exactly. Maybe I'll switch to Nearpod. I'm not sure. On all asynchronous videos, you will watch the videos like this one, answer the questions, and then on Google Classroom, I will, as a link, post all of the answers. So know that here, it's only confidential between us. Nothing, like we said in the rules, nothing goes out. But what you say, unless you want it to be private, just like put in the answer private, then write something. But other than that, it's going to be shared with the rest of the club. So trigger warning for that. Um, so on there's that. It's going. We're going to have a discussion later in Google Classroom. And today we are talking about time management. And like I said, why is it important to learn how to manage your time? So, even though we can't really have a discussion about this here, or that's one of the topics we will be talking about is how are you? This is technically like a club to make your day better, and our biggest priority is to make sure that everyone's doing okay and no one needs more support. So this time, oh sorry, I didn't edit this. Sorry, this time in Ed, don't pay attention to this. This time in Ed Puzzle, just answer it. Everything is 100% correct, even if it says wrong. So what is time management? Let's talk about it. So first of all, put your thoughts on what time management is. Time management is basically when you learn how to make a schedule after school of what you're doing correctly, of what all the homework you're doing. So let me give you an example. So let's say I'm going to use my personal life. I have class at 10, 11, and 12, and I have gym. I have algebra 2, I have Italian, and I have AP Global. So what I do basically is I make a schedule for myself. What times do I watch my TV shows? What times do I do my homework? And what times do I play on my Switch? So basically, I just learn how tried my best to learn, and if it gets off schedule, then I take it out of TV show time. And I also have a bunch of tutors and a bunch of extracurriculars. Um, and I know it's hypocritical since I'm not the best time manager, but this is exactly what I'm trying to teach it to myself and to all of you. So that's time management. One second. Okay, 1 second. So we're going to be watching also a TED Talk, and the TED Talk is going to be about time management. Warning, trigger warning, really quickly. There are going to be talking about death. So trigger warning.
Dove Advanced Care's new formula, enriched with 1/4 moisturizers with natural oil, leaves underarms feeling healthy and protected, and you more confident and carefree. Effective protection, kind to skin.
Here we go.
When I was 6 years old, my biggest fear was to get bored. I used to make to-do lists every single day, so I'd always have something to do. But one day I was watching this documentary on sea turtles, and it said that sea turtles can live up to 150 years of age. And I realized, as a 6-year-old kid, that I'm probably not going to live that.
Just bear with me. This is new for me.
When I was 6 years old, my biggest fear was to get bored. I used to make to-do lists every single day, so I'd always have something to do. But one day I was watching this documentary on sea turtles, and it said that sea turtles can live up to 150 years of age. And I realized, as a 6-year-old kid, that I'm probably not going to live that long. I'm going to die. It was such a strange realization. Don't you feel weird sometimes when you realize that no matter what you do in life, you're still going to die in the end? So I ran to my mother and asked her, "Mom, is it true that we're all going to die someday? You, me, Dad, my friends?" And she said, "Yes, we're all going to die. There's nothing you can do about that." And I was horrified. I started to cry, and I cried so hard because of what death meant. It literally means the end of existence, the end of everything. And I wondered, what's the point of all this? So I turned to my mom, still crying, and said, "So why do we work? Why do I have to work? Why does Dad have to work so much if he and everybody else are going to die anyway?" She never answered my question. But that question stuck with me. I ask myself a lot of questions, and I'm sure you do too. That's what philosophy is all about, asking questions. And what could be more important than asking questions about how to use your time? Probably nothing, because time is all we have. So naturally, you would expect the whole time management movement to be very philosophical. After all, time management is a concept that started out in philosophy. The ancient philosophers were obsessed with this one very important question. How can we use our time in a way that makes our lives meaningful? But modern time management is philosophically empty. Time management books are written by consultants, not philosophers. It's always about tips and tricks and techniques to get more things done, to do things faster, to be more productive, more efficient, and to work better. Time management has become philosophically empty. Time management has moved away from its philosophical roots. But if we really want to live a meaningful life, we have to once again reinfuse time management with philosophy. And philosophy starts with questions. Here's a very simple question. Why do we need to manage time? Some people might say it's because time is precious, very precious, so we need to manage it. But how precious is time exactly? See, whenever I introduce myself to people as a time management researcher, the first thing people say is, "Oh yeah, time management, that's really important because time is money." Time is money. Every time I hear time is money, it reminds me of this conversation I had over coffee with this acquaintance of mine. He was a contractor. As we were talking, he looked slightly annoyed and impatient. So I asked him, Jeff, what's going on, man? Everything all right? And he said, it's just that I hate wasting my time. It makes me so angry. So I asked him, what do you mean? And he said, look, I make $160 an hour. That means every hour I spend with you, I'm losing $160. I was slightly offended, to be honest. But it's what he said next that really shocked me. He said, whenever I'm spending time with my own kids, it makes me so angry because, yeah, I'm spending time with them, but every hour I spend with my kids, I'm not making $160. And this is not just an anecdote. You can see this everywhere. Experiments show that whenever people start to think of time as money, they become more agitated, less happy, always in a rush. And importantly, they get greedy. They become less likely to help people out, to volunteer, or to think about the environment. Because nothing else matters when you're making $160 an hour. The real question is money the real value of time? The Roman philosopher Seneca said that if we think of time as money, we're actually valuing our time very cheaply. We value our time very cheaply because we think we have a lot of it, because we think we're going to live forever. But we're not going to live forever. We're going to die. And the moment you realize, and I mean fully realize, that you're going to die, $160 an hour won't mean much. Time is not money anymore. Now, some people might say that thinking about death is not exactly cheerful. Maybe. But it's very helpful. The French philosopher Albert Camus said that the most fundamental question in philosophy is, why shouldn't I kill myself right now? It's true. Why shouldn't you kill yourself right now?
Don't kill yourself then.
Your answer to that question will remind you of what you're truly living for. Your answer to that question will remind you of the true value of your time. Because time is not money when you know you're going to die. And this is how philosophy helps with time management. It helps us ask meaningful questions about time. Here's another seemingly simple question. Can you manage time? Back in college, I had this professor who used to tell me that you can't manage time. Time management is bullshit. You can't manage time because there's too many things to do, too much work to do, too many obligations. You can't manage time. She used to publicly brag about how she never sees her daughter because she never has time. People admired her because she was so productive. But what people didn't know was that her work obligations also made her depressed. They cost her a marriage. And of course, she never really got to know her daughter. But what truly pains me is that things could have been otherwise. She could have been alive today and see her daughter grow up. But she didn't believe that time could be managed, so she never tried. Whenever I used to drop by her office, she would tell me, sorry, kiddo, I don't have time. But that was a lie. I don't have time is the biggest lie in the history of mankind. You know who really didn't have time? Your great-grandparents. Those guys had no time at all. They had to work 12 hours a day every single day. And it's not just work. Everything back then was more time-consuming. People didn't have washing machines, so they had to wash everything by hand. They didn't have frozen meals, so they had to cook everything from scratch. And all those things took hours to do back in the days. That's why our great-grandparents really didn't have time. But here's the incredible thing. Our great-grandparents did not complain about not having time. We do. It's a paradox. We have more time than they did, and yet we still complain that we don't have time. Why? Because we have more options. More freedom to choose our time options as we please. Look at how we live today. We can shop on Amazon 24/7, any day of the year. Women can delay pregnancy by freezing their eggs. More and more companies offer flexible work schedules. We can watch our favorite shows anytime we want on Netflix. So not only do we have more time, but we also have a lot more flexibility. A lot more. A lot more freedom to use our time as we please. And we still say that we don't have time. Why? The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre said that we have this tendency to trick ourselves into thinking we're not free. Because being free to use your time as you please means that you have to make a choice and live with the consequences of that choice. That means whatever you do with your time, it's on you. And that's the scary part. It's scary because what if we made the wrong choices? What if we're missing out? It's this constant fear of missing out. Would your life have been better had you spent more time with your kids? Or more time studying? Or more time partying? Maybe we don't want to know. That's why we say we don't have time. It gives us an excuse. It's reassuring. But in reality, we do have time. And time can be managed. It's just that we don't have a lot of it. So there have to be sacrifices. We can't have it all. When it comes to time, we can either make sacrifices or make excuses. But only one of them will allow you to live meaningfully. We live in an era of unprecedented flexibility, where we can actually afford to work less and do more meaningful things with our time, so why don't we? And by we, I really mean us. You, me, and everybody else in this city. Because time management is not just about you. It's about all of us. It's about all of us as a society. The way you manage your time has huge consequences for our world. What do people say when they don't vote? I didn't have time. What do people say when they don't read? I don't have time. Why don't people relax, go to the museum, or volunteer? I don't have time. But this wouldn't be the case if we thought about time management the way philosophers do, by asking questions, the right questions, instead of focusing on tips, tricks, and shortcuts. So what kind of questions can we ask ourselves? Well, is it reasonable to let your boss call you on weekends? Is it worth it? Is it worth your time? And by time, I really mean life, not money. Because you're not paying your bosses with some commodity. You're paying them with your time. You're paying them with your life. And if that's not precious, I don't know what is. Next time you tell a friend you don't have time to hang out, ask yourself if you actually have better things to do, or if you're just making excuses. Because there's a growing sense of isolation in Western societies. People feel alone, partly because people feel they don't have time to hang out anymore. But we do have time. So please share it with the people you care about if you can. And remember, if you want to manage your time meaningfully, embrace philosophy and never stop asking questions. Thank you.
So basically, like I was saying, this was a very philosophical video. But what he was saying is right. You have to learn how to manage your time properly, or you may not have time to do it. So, for basically, the biggest takeaway, in my opinion, is next time when your family calls you for dinner, or your grandma or grandpa calls you and wants to talk to you but you're playing video games, don't tell them you don't have time, because they're not there for a very long time. I learned that lesson a long time ago. I was 6 years old, and my grandma died. But when she always called me, I never had the time to talk. I was always too busy doing other stuff. But then she died, and I just wish I would have one more minute, just one, to talk to her. Just that one more minute. I'd be able to talk to her, tell her I'm sorry for everything, and tell her that I always love her. So basically, how would we manage our time with homework and with family? So I usually try my best to make a Google Docs, like I said. Oh, and wait, I want to leave this for a second. I wanted to come back to something. Why we're using Edpuzzle and not Peer and not Nearpod or Kahoot. So basically, the biggest difference is with Nearpod, I have to record separate voice clips, and it would be pretty hard because I had a lot of stuff to do, and I feel like doing just one whole video on Ed for Edpuzzle would be easier. But if next time I have more time, I feel like I would do Nearpod. All of our future synchronous meets, I think it's going to be either Kahoot or Nearpod. So synchronous, the ones that we have left. But I have to think about it more, and I have to like discuss it with my partner more. So and Kahoot also, you can't have long answers. You can't have long answers with Kahoot. So back to okay. So so basically what I do, I make a Google Doc. So I finish school at 1:10 normal time. By the time I have lunch, 1:30. I have a break until 2 o'clock. I eat, I play video games until like 2 o'clock. Then I start doing my homework. I finish around 6 per se. 6, let's say. Then on a normal day. Then I eat, spend time with my family, and then I go play my video games, talk with my friends. So this is my basic schedule when I'm at home. When I'm here with my grandparents, it's pretty different. I wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning every single day. I go swimming until 12 when there's no school. When school starts at Tuesday and Thursday, and basically after that Tuesday and Thursday, I on Monday, Wednesday, Friday I have school, but on days I don't have school, I just basically start doing my homework from 12 to 5. Then from 5 to 7 I swim again with my both my grandparents. Then I eat and then I do my homework. Yesterday I had to do my homework until 2 a.m., but I just had a lot of stuff to do. Okay, so thank you so much for coming. This was very, very new for us, and we will see how you like it, and we will decide from there. Our next meeting, it will be a synchronous meeting. I'm actually not sure if it will be a meeting or not because of Thanksgiving, but I'll have to discuss that with Mr. Costa. But I think there will be a meeting, and we are going to talk about some news that we have with the toy drive, and we will talk about the Thanksgiving because it's almost Thanksgiving, and we're going to put resilience for next one for the December, and we're going to talk why you should be thankful, and it's going to be another philosophical one. So thank you so much for coming. I will see you next Monday. This will be posted. All the answers to the Ed Puzzle questions will be posted on Google Classroom at when everybody is done with them, so you could all share and talk about them. Thank you so much for showing up, and have a great, great, great day. I can find. Oh, come on. 1 second. Having some trouble. Okay, perfect, 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 perfect. Perfect. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I will see you, all of you, next time. If you have any questions, you know my number, you know my email, and have a good day.